Tonight, we take a closer look at an important decision facing many new parents: what to do with their newborn's umbilical cord blood.
Is it actually worth it to pay thousands of dollars to store that precious resource? Investigative reporter Vicki Wynn joins us now to explain.
Guys, a multi-billion-dollar industry has sprung up around parents paying to privately store their newborn's cord blood. But some say those stem cells have a much better chance of saving a life if you give them away. One of the hottest and driest cities in America is home to one of the most precious resources in the world, at least for the 500,000 families who trust this lab in Tucson with preserving their baby's cord blood.
You know, we don't face tornadoes and earthquakes and storm surges and hurricanes and all of the other types of Mother Nature events that the other areas of the country can face.
It's just hot.
It's just hot. And thankfully, we have these tanks to ensure that our samples stay nice and cold.
Kristen Swingle is the vice president of lab operations for Cord Blood Registry. The San Bruno-based company is the largest private cord blood bank in the world.
This window here looks into our quality control department.
After the cord blood is collected from the baby at birth, it's sent here to this lab. Technicians test, process, and store the samples in large tanks monitored 24/7 for temperature control.
And this is what you store in the tanks?
This is what we store in the tanks.
This is the good stuff.
This is the good stuff.
The good stuff contains stem cells that can be used to treat a number of diseases, including leukemia and sickle cell anemia.
We're leading the industry in the research.
CEO Jeff Krause takes pride in CBR's research and its top spot in a $4 billion global industry.
We've been in business for over 20 years.
The company's website and brochures tout the many benefits of storing your child's cord blood. But what they don't emphasize is the actual number of children who have been treated with their own stem cells from cord blood.
We've had 100 families benefit from using the stem cells in their current applications.
That's 100 families out of the more than 500,000 units that you have banked. Is that correct?
Yes.
What do you say to critics who say that businesses like this prey on new parents' fears about insurance for the future?
What we're trying to do here is ensure that parents can make an informed decision.
Private banking at CBR costs about $1,500 up front, plus $150 a year to store the blood indefinitely. And like any business, consumers complain. We found nearly half of CBR's unfiltered reviews on Yelp were 1 or 2 stars. Complaints about customer service, billing, canceling, and how the company collects samples.
1, 2.
Cash Shamlu wrote one of the negative reviews.
I felt so robbed and just victim of this corporation, basically.
He and his wife live in San Francisco now, but they lived in Iceland when they signed up with CBR to store their son's cord blood. He says CBR assured him there wouldn't be any problems. But once the sample arrived in Tucson, the cord blood was no longer viable.
It just basically died and rotted on the shelf, and they tried to do an extraction, but they weren't able to get a sufficient sample.
Shamlu received an email from the company CEO expressing concern, but says that wasn't enough.
Because it was such a loss for me.
We've absolutely changed the process as the industry has evolved, and there's more and more banks available internationally. Our first step is to recommend to bank within the country that your baby is being born.
And as the investigative unit first revealed in February, the private cord blood banking industry is loosely regulated overall. Unlike restaurants or nail salons, there are no FDA requirements for how often private cord blood facilities are to be inspected. In some cases, inspectors found insects and unsanitary conditions. Some blood banks even went out of business, leaving parents in a lurch. In fact, the American Academy of Pediatrics says private storage of cord blood as biological insurance should be discouraged. The AAP says that's because if your child gets sick, that illness is likely to be present in your child's cord blood, so you wouldn't want to use it.
Use by your own child has been oversold a bit by the private or family banks.
Suzanne Ponto co-directs the UC Davis cord blood collection program. When parents deliver at certain hospitals, they can choose to donate their child's cord blood.
When mother donates her unit, it can be used for anybody in the whole world. It's really a global network. It's a way to save a life right after you've given life.
Donated cord blood is stored here at the San Diego Blood Bank.
We've got about 4,000 units stored.
CEO David Wellis says donated cord blood is much more likely to save a life. Right now, California has about 2,000 donors registered in the national program at BeTheMatch.org.
147 patients have benefited from the cord blood units that we've stored.
Statewide, 11 hospitals offer the option to donate, but right now there are none in the Bay Area. The state wants to increase awareness about the benefits of public donation and expand the number of hospitals that offer it.
It's really amazing. It is truly life-saving.
For now, parents who pay for private cord blood banking should know they're paying for an insurance policy they are unlikely to use.
The advertising may suggest this is something you want to do for your child because it could help your child. And that may not be really the case, at least not now.
So I think it's really important to balance that message and get it right. So absolutely, there's potential and there's a low likelihood of use there that you'll need it for your own family. But in the event you need it, you'll be happy you have it.
One thing to note, when parents donate their child's cord blood, they will no longer have access to it. It goes into the public bank to be used by anyone who needs it. Vicki Nguyen, NBC Bay Area News.
If you have a tip for our investigative unit,